The game will let me know if I'm done. And I can tell you right now, I will I will thank my lucky stars when I'm done. I will be grateful. I've been so lucky to have gotten to this point, but I need the game to tell me I'm done.
Fly ball onto the track, at the wall, it's gone! Home run!
Turns on a ball, deep right field, and gone!
What a game, what a moment.
All right, pumped to have Joey Votto on the show again. Joey, I appreciate you joining me, man.
I'm glad to be here. I was told to don't do too many interviews, but I'm like, I'm just happy to have conversations about baseball. It's restarting, spring training's underway, and I'm a part of the community, so I want to continue that, continue to have those social connections, continue to feed that sort of those relationships.
Love that, man. And I'm appreciative of you wanting to hop on this show again. And I got a quick story to start the discussion here. So the other day, true story, I'm backing out of a parking spot at Trader Joe's. Sure enough, bump into a shopping cart that was in my blind spot. In that exact moment, this sudden rage filled my entire body. I closed my eyes, gripped the steering wheel, Joey, and I thought, this has officially gone too far. Will somebody fucking sign Joey Votto? What's happening?
With the F-bomb?
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
Well, I may or may not have been a part of that shopping cart obstacle. Yeah, I've had such a good time over this past bit. This has been a new experience for me in a lot of different ways, but I've had fun. I really have had fun. I get texts from people, dude, are you okay? Or DMs from people, it's okay, support. You'll find a team, you'll do this, you'll do that. And people are so sweet. People are so sweet, so supportive. The fans that reach out to me, the fans that comment and back me in Reddits and comment sections and Twitter and Instagram and social commentary in general. The support that I've received is shocking. I'm just a regular dude from Mimico, Ontario, Canada, that tried his best at ball and attempted to build, try to be sincere during my career, and I've gotten so much support. And so I've really enjoyed this experience. It's an odd thing to say considering I've put out a lot of like sad meme guy things, but really it's been really good for me. And more than anything, I've been grateful for the support, the consistent support and love from so many Major League Baseball fans.
To me, just getting to know you just a little bit, when I see you posting a photo on Tuesday evening that breaks the internet of sad Keanu Reeves sitting on a bench to a T, like, to me, that says Joey's thriving right now. He's doing great. How'd that all come about?
Again, I have a good relationship with the community, with the people that I engage with, and more than anything, I'm here to entertain. I'm a top tier boring guy. I get up and go for a proper walk and then train and then come back at the end of the day with the intent on just running that back the next day. I've got some simple interests. I like memes. I love a good comment section. I always scroll to the highest, the most upvoted or the most liked just to see what the vibe is. So I'm learning. But these things come from just being playful and making sure that I can play off of this silliness that, I've had a wonderful career with so many, as I said before, gifts. The idea that at 40 years old, I'm going to complain or be dissatisfied or feel kind of like this is not fair towards baseball and towards the fans, towards the business of it, towards anything is so ridiculous. And I'm not saying people are ridiculous. I'm saying the idea of me being dissatisfied is a ridiculous idea. And so I'm leaning into that. I'm leaning into that and letting people know, wink, wink, let's play this game together, sort of thing.
Yeah.
The best part about it, in my experience, social in general, relative with the context of me being a free agent and not being signed yet, is that there's so many people. Forgive me, I just got this computer, so I'm the dings are going to come. So, but that so many people don't know me very well, and that they're reacting like, "Dude's sad. What's he got to be sad about?" Or why is he on that bench? Like, why is he eating a donut? Why is he? I just, it's fun to meet new people and to get a reaction out of those people. And it's been a great time. I've really had a good time with it.
Well, we're recording this at 3:30 on Wednesday, March 6th. And I gotta can you give us the latest? Or are there teams interested? Are we close? We're all dying for info. Can you give us some hope, Joey?
I can tell you that as it stands right now, as long as I'm unsigned, all shopping carts are under threat. Watch your back, shopping carts and shopping cart attendants. There will be a lot of unhappy people out there. Until I put a uniform on and get in a batter's box, all shopping carts will be in danger. But as far as nothing's changed, and yeah, I'm amongst many players that are dealing with this circumstance.
Yeah.
So in my head, the next time I play, I'll be so excited and grateful to be able to get back on a major league field, get back on a baseball field and compete. That's really all where my head is at.
Yeah, that was kind of my next question, more on a serious note. Like in this point in your career, you'd be entering your age 40 season. What kind of role would you be looking for this year? Do you want to play on a contender? Is that important? Do you just want to play?
Well, I would never get on. I, I would never get on an interview and negotiate myself out of anything.
Yeah.
It's odd. Nobody's trying to sabotage themselves.
Yeah.
So this is my plan. I want the game to let me know where I fit in. And I say that as sincerely as can be. I don't want to play bad anymore. I looked it up the other day. I think your show speaks StatCast and more some advanced numbers. If among qualified players, batters in 2021, I was top, I think 6, 7, or 8 in expected WOBA. I had my arm reconstructed in August of the 2022.
Hmm.
These surgeries and recoveries take a long time, a long time. I don't like speaking about other players, but there's plenty of other players that you can look up that have had any sort of shoulder reconstruction that are not themselves for a long stretch of time. I've dedicated this entire off season to training and rehabbing. I've dedicated my entire 2023 to coming back. I didn't play well, but I was not healthy. And let me rephrase that. I was healthy enough to get on the field and compete, but I was not at my best self.
Yeah.
So my number one goal is, and I'm sorry for these, they're dinging, I'm killing you right now, but
If it helps you, I can't hear them.
okay. My number one goal is to be at my very best and be healthy and not look back. And that's what I've spent this entire offseason training towards. And that's the only answer I can provide as far as what I'm looking for.
You personally might not be able to talk other players, but you saying exactly that, my mind immediately popped to a guy like Cody Bellinger, who is far younger, ends up getting shoulder surgery and took him a while to get back. And then last year hits over 300 and has an extremely productive year. But it was a couple of years removed really from getting a shoulder surgery. So that is an interesting point. Like you might be healthy and able to play baseball, but it might take a while to get back from that sort of thing.
Yeah, I can be candid. I can be candid because I've already had my career. And whatever happens going forward is gravy on top. But I'll speak about the specifics about technique. I had a rotator cuff surgery and a bicep reattachment.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have the ability to externally rotate and be able to lag the bat, you're not going to be able to stay inside of the ball and be
Yeah.
able to find that extension out front. That's my back arm. So this entire window here, this like top third of the strike zone, slightly above the strike zone, to be able to get to there, you have to be able to load and be tight to, and to be able to externally rotate and be able to extend out front.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to be tight through there because I didn't have the external rotation. I didn't have the strength. I didn't have the overall range of motion. And that's been my goal each and every single day. Again, the game will let me know if I'm done. And I can tell you right now, I will thank my lucky stars when I'm done. I will be grateful. I've been so lucky to have gotten to this point, but I need the game to tell me I'm done.
Yeah.
I need a healthy version of me to compete, fail, adios sort of thing.
What do you think, Joey, is happening in your opinion with free agency as a whole this offseason? Because like you said, you're not the only one that this is happening to. And we see players getting far less money than expected, signing maybe higher AAV, but lower term deals, and then players still not signed. What do you think is happening? Is it front offices? Like, is there something happening?
We had a pretty darn good offseason last year. We had some pretty amazing contracts last year.
Yeah.
I don't think every offseason is going to be the same. I don't think it's just, always trending up. I don't know if the contracts the players currently got just most recently signed are below fair or above market. I don't know enough about the specifics. The dissatisfaction or the lag and the dissatisfaction I've heard from players or from the sport in general. I don't know enough about the industry. I don't know enough about what's fair to be able to speak too much about that. I understand why players would be dissatisfied, but again, I don't know enough about that. And as far as the inner workings on the front office and ownership side, I'm providing a non-answer here because I know so little about it. As far as how it's affected me, I don't feel it. I haven't once felt it. As far as the top guys, the big name guys, that's we'll see how the contracts look when the dust settles. Yeah, I'd have to ask you, how have the contracts been from the guys that have waited for a bit? I mean, you'd be a bit. Was Ohtani's deal and Yamamoto's deal good? Was Bellinger's and Chapman's solid? I don't have these answers.
Yeah, my personal opinion is that there's a few players out there in Major League Baseball, and by a few, I literally mean a few. The Ohtanis, the Judges, and maybe the Ronald Acuñas of the world at this point. I think those guys can tell people what the market is. They can say, this is what I want, and what can you do for me? And I honestly don't think there's a lot of players like that out there. Even a guy that might win a Cy Young the year before, and a Blake Snell. I really do feel like at this point, we're getting some front offices coming together and having things come out in the media saying, oh, the only offer out for Blake Snell is $150 million. That's it. And it was just the Yankees. No. So then Blake Snell's out there wanting whatever it is he wants, upward 200, well above 200 million. And other teams are saying, well, why would I pay Blake Snell the money he wants when there's apparently only one offer out there for $150 million, and it was the Yankees? So I almost feel like we're getting stuff put out via the media from maybe teams, and it's not allowing players to really dive into contracts that they want. I don't know, but it just I really don't know, and I don't have a good answer either. But I know there's not a lot of players that are able to set their own market. And it kind of feels like at this point, front offices might be trying to reset the market a little bit.
Well, you could have stopped your sentence when you said there's not a lot of players. Just stop it like that. That'll solve it.
Yeah.
That'll solve it one way or the other. I'm sure there will be a resolution to this. The only thing that stands out to me, I have no business discussing somebody else's negotiation. And I have no business speaking on anybody else's business. I'm speaking about the 30 teams. I'm speaking about the industry in general. I've never felt real comfortable about that. I've got friends that tell me, "Hey, don't quit pocket watching, sort of thing. I've got friends that talk to me like that, and they're absolutely right. The only thing that stands out to me is we're here to serve the fans, and if and this is just general. This is just general. I I want to make sure the players are ready from when we have to serve the fans March 28th all the way through September 28th.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very difficult to prepare for a major league season with an abbreviated training camp or an abbreviated rehab or an abbreviated, run up to the season a la COVID 2020 season. So
Yeah.
that's the language I'm going to speak. I care about the player being able to prepare individually and with his team so we can serve the fans.
Yeah.
And if outing number one is 3 or 4 innings, that's their business. That's his
Yeah.
business. That's their business. But when there's 45,000 fans and there's a million people tuning in, you know, someone's gonna throw a milkshake at their screen saying, why is he coming out? This sort of thing. Who
Yeah.
drinks milkshake at home? It's probably more like a plate of spaghetti. You know what I mean?
Maybe a bowl of ice cream. Not many milkshakes being made at home.
Yeah, fair.
Joey, I do want to I want to reflect on your time in Cincinnati for a little bit. You spent 17 years there in Cincy in the big leagues. What's your favorite part of that city itself? How much does that place mean to you?
Favorite part of that city. It's it's odd when halfway through, 2/3 of the way through, by the end, people by name, or and I'm speaking about fans, seeing people on the street, going into a coffee shop or a
Mhm.
restaurant, and people not even looking at you with stardom awe, like like you can sometimes see with famous athletes. You see a superstar basketball player, you see an NHL player or a dancer, an actor, whatever. But for them to react oh, that's my neighbor Joey. Oh, he's in the community all the time, Joey. Oh, hey, Joey, good to see you again. Very casual. It was a neighborly, we're in the same community. I know you, like a friend reaction almost all
Yeah.
the time. Almost all the time.
Wow.
It wasn't fireworks and photo shoot sort of thing. It was very, handshake and hello, how you doing? Oh, so and so. Oh, I saw you in the community. Da da da. That's probably the thing that stands out to me the most. And I'll miss it. Of course, I'll
Yeah.
miss it because I was accepted for who I am. I was treated great. It was the sort of thing where, like, if I had like made a public request, like people are gonna take care of it. Like,
Mhm.
hey, can anybody help me with this? And people would have looked at me as Joey, not just Joey in the neighborhood. So that losing that or moving on from that or putting that in the past, I'll look back with great fondness.
Are you going to miss Skyline Chili? How'd you feel about that?
Well, I can't. You asked me a question and I'm replying so complimentary about the city, and then you're setting me up for failure.
Oh no.
I've never tried Skyline chili.
What?
No, I've never tried it. I walked in one time with the intent on making a social media post, and I decided I have to play tomorrow. I've never tried this food before. I don't know how it's gonna my stomach is gonna react, and I decided not to have some. So yeah, no, I've never tried Skyline, and I get a lot of I get a lot of grief for that.
I feel like that's fair. You were there for 17 years and we couldn't find a day?
Have you had it before?
Not in Cincinnati. No. My girlfriend's from Cincinnati and made me some,
Oh,
but it wasn't.
oh,
Yes.
oh, very good, very good.
Joey, I do want to ask you about this coming season. There is a lot of hype for the Reds, and it's a team you were around for obviously this current group. You were there last year and were there when the page kind of turned a little bit. They're exciting. What do you think the ceiling is for this Reds current team?
Well, the lineup is long. and starting staff is potentially long. I mean, Hunter Green has a chance to be among the better pitchers in the game. Every one of the guys, 2 through 5, has a chance to be a standout pitcher. The lineup, as I mentioned before, is long, but it's also quite athletic. Lots of stolen bases, lots of taking the extra base, guys that can play multiple positions. You know, you've got Matt McLean, who can play most infield positions, save first base, but he could definitely play that also. Ellie De La Cruz, who could play all the infield positions and center field. He could pitch, you know. So they're the sort of team that has potential to be competitive, not only right now, but also in the long run. And they have most importantly, not most importantly, I mean, you can have chaos in the clubhouse and still get the job done. You could have a toxic atmosphere in the clubhouse as far as butting heads and still be successful. But they get along great. They're smart. They're wanting to work. They're wanting to get better collectively, and they have the chance to. It's the sort of team that has a chance to be good for 5, 8 years, maybe
Yep.
long, sort of thing. So they're all young. They're all quite athletic. They're all high ceiling types. The Reds are in a fantastic place.
If I just had Jonathan India is coming on the show and talk to him, and man, that guy loves you and gives you a lot of credit for him being like a leader in that locker room, and just told some good stories and about how just really gravitated towards you and learned a lot about being a leader from you. So it's cool to hear him talk about you in that way, and I'm sure you might feel the same way about him.
John and I were locker mates. John and I were played side by side on the field
Hmm.
together. We had little handshakes and little inside jokes, lots of little inside jokes. We had, in some ways, a similar style of play in that we prided ourselves on getting on base by any means necessary. We prided ourselves in playing even when hurt. And John is an achiever, a high achiever type. So to me, I loved playing with him. I have a great deal of respect for him. And the team, I will say this. I've always misunderstood the whole leadership thing in baseball in particular. Now, John has, I'm going to show you by example. I'm going to play through pain. I'm going to play by any means necessary. I'm going to do the gritty thing. He also has a strong ability to communicate, which is, I think, helpful. I suppose you would classify as a
Yeah.
leadership characteristic. But in baseball, in my opinion, it's just a group of individual hired contractors, like hired guns,
Yeah.
mercenaries, all doing it together. And rare is there a coordinated effort. You know, it's not like the shortstop has to time up the throw a la quarterback to wide receiver to a first baseman, sort
Yeah.
of thing. The only tandem that matters is the catcher and the pitcher.
Hmm.
And you can sense that camaraderie amongst the catching crew and the pitching crew. But in general, we were on the position player side, we're highly individualized. And so the idea that someone's going to lead me to be better at my job in general in baseball, I bristle at that.
Yeah.
I've never reacted to somebody pushing me or motivating me, or not a single time in my entire professional career has somebody, made me feel like I played that much better. I've had some
Yeah.
guys that have inspired me through action, but very rarely. Scott Rowland's a perfect example. Ken Griffey Jr. is a great example. I could give you many more, but very rarely is there someone through their words can they boost me up or motivate me
Yeah.
to play harder and work harder. To me, it's you're selling yourself short if you need somebody else to do that. I
Yeah.
suppose not everybody's me, or not everybody's, but I've heard that from a lot of accomplished players that the idea of a leader is an odd thing to hand to a player.
Spoken like a real leader, in my opinion. uh, Joey, so some current state of the game question for you. Last year we saw the implementation of the pitch clock. And I got to ask, at this point in your career, and you said you want to be candid about things and the state of baseball and stuff like that. Is there anything, if you were commissioner for a day, is there a rule that you would change or a change that you would make to the game of baseball?
Love to see the game get a bit more international. Feel like there's some potential. I understand. I understand we have a condensed schedule. I know that the players want their full salary. The owner side wants the full 162 gates. I get it. I don't know how you expand it. It could be similar to what the UFC does in terms of building UFC. I believe it's like a UFC gym or a UFC training center in different places around the world. And I think that that's their way of putting a flag in the ground or perhaps building a connection with that community. I do know we do that. There's no doubt about it. We do that.
Yeah.
I I would like to see it in, it's a beautiful sport, and to see it thrive in Latin America and see it thrive in parts of Asia, it's a testament to how simple of a sport it is and how much it aligns with our natural sort of throwing something, catching something, swinging at something, running, sprints, diving, sliding. These are all things kids do.
Yeah.
Kids, we love being outside in the grass, in the dirt, sliding for something, making light contact. These are things that are in line with, I think, being a kid. And I think carrying that to different parts in the world, I'd love to see our sport grow to the same. You see a sport like cricket. It's got like 1.5 billion people that support it, and we're maybe a third of that. So I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm no commissioner here. I'm certainly the most medium intelligent person in the room, but I do feel like
medium intelligent.
I do feel like there's more potential. And I do think with the continued games in Mexico, games in Europe, games in Asia, I do think we're expanding in that way, but I'd love to see a bit more.
If you're a player on a team, let's say you're on the Dodgers or Padres and you're getting ready to take off in, I don't know, 10 days for Seoul to play in the Seoul series, how are you feeling as a player where March 20th your season starts, you play 2 games in Seoul, you come back to the United States and play in spring training for a couple of days and then go to opening day on March 28th? How are you handling that as a player, and are you excited about doing it?
And say, as someone without a job right now, that I would be, you only have so many opportunities. You have only so many opportunities in life. And to be able to wear a major league uniform and play a game in a completely different continent that is memorable, that's opening the major league season. To me, I understand the discomfort, I understand the potential challenges, but you'll always have that. I'll share with you, we did the Field of Dreams game, and we played a game in New York, and the next AM we had a 9:45 AM bus, something like that. And I don't get up until almost noon. This is my routine. I stay up till 1:30, 2:30, maybe sometimes later, sometimes earlier, what have you. But I try to max out my sleep. I'm trying to be in bed for 10 plus hours, right?
Yeah.
I'm 40, right? So 9:45 is a shock to my system. I'm playing every day. We take the hour-and-a-half transit through New York traffic. Then we wait on the plane for another couple hours. Then we fly across to the Field of Dreams in Iowa. That's a 3-hour flight. get off the hour bus ride to the ballpark. So from 9:45 until 4 p.m. we were in transit, and then we got to play a game that night, including media, including prep, including da 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 da. After the game, another hour bus ride back on, get on a plane, head back for the following game. I think we had a day off. Neither here nor there. Would I have any other? Would I drop a major league day like that? No, of course not. But forever I have that. I get to say I played on the Field of Dreams field. I get to say that I had the memories of wearing that uniform and speaking with an earpiece on with John Smoltz and the Fox crew. I believe it's Fox. And I'll always have that. And I'm missing someone else that I spoke with, but I'll always be able to have that. And so you give some stuff up sometimes to have those great memories. And more importantly, we're expanding the game. This is part of our job.
Yeah.
It's crucial that we continue to build bonds all over the world. This is crucial. It's part of our salary. So I have no I understand the pushback or the discomfort, but ultimately, we're here to serve.
Well, it does. It finally feels, I don't want to say finally. I do think Major League Baseball deserves a lot of credit over the last few years. You got London, Mexico, the Seoul series. It feels like they're starting to get it and expand and to grow the game outside of just the United States and Canada as well. So it does feel like it's heading in the right direction there for sure.
There's been work. I don't want this to come off as any sort of criticism.
Yeah.
Think when I think about other places, and I understand I don't even understand the roadblocks, but when I think about Africa, when I think about I believe one of the top prospects is Indian, if I'm not mistaken. I think about all these different places, Australia. I remember games being played in Australia, and I believe Ichiro finished in Tokyo. And so there's without a question, there's effort. Without question, there's effort.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know that there's growth in those different parts of the world, but when I see videos on X or Instagram Reels or TikTok, what have you, of players in different parts of the world, it just reminds you that this game can travel. And picking up a little rock and chucking it as hard as you can and trying to catch it and trying to hit it and diving for something in the mud or the snow or the rain or on concrete. You see this on sprinting as hard as you can. This is a beautiful, beautiful game. And it's not a particularly expensive game to play if you just want the bare bones of it. Last thing I'll say about this, I grew up throwing a ball against a wall. I threw into a square. My dad basically gave me, I think it was a rubber ball, lacrosse ball, or tennis ball, or baseball, and I would go up back and throw against the wall. That's it. You go from there. You graduate from there. If you have any potential with that, maybe we get a glove, or maybe you figure out how to do it with a bare hand, or you go buy yourself a glove. Okay, now maybe I'll throw to you. You hit with a stick. Okay, you're okay with a stick. Maybe you graduate to a bat. It's an inexpensive game to build the basics on.
Yeah.
And that to me can transfer all over the world.
Forgive me, I forget exactly where it was, but did you see the photos from earlier this offseason that went viral of kids playing? They were almost like playing baseball in front of like a temple, and it was almost like emotional seeing those photos. It was unbelievable.
I believe it was in Bhutan.
Yes. Yes.
I think I may be saying it correctly. Beautiful. That gets through customs everywhere. A little ball, a beautiful, beautiful pearl.
Yeah. Joey, lastly for you, last year you went on MLB Network, ripped Chris Russo a new one, and honestly, maybe the best clip of the entire year. So I told you I just had Jonathan India on, and he said you were in the locker room preparing that moment for a long time, but nobody knew what you were doing until they saw it live. I need to know the behind the scenes here. How'd that all come together?
Chris commented on Zach Greinke and I that we're more Hall of Very Good players. I don't like getting into the Hall of Fame debate. I'm of the mind it's similar to love. And when you know. And if 75% can't just feel it in their gut, then there you go. Part of being in the Hall of Fame is being famous, of being famous. And famous could be infamous. It could be just sheer performance, lauded by your statistics, champion. It could be a culmination of strong play with championship experience. It could just be you're just a famous person that the statistics don't match the reputation. I don't like getting into it because again, I'm a believer that it's a feel thing.
Mhm.
And a lot of people can disagree with me and I would respect their opinions. But Chris's feedback was these guys aren't Hall of Fame players. They're Hall of Very Good players. Come on, get out of here with Greinke and Votto. They're not Hall of Fame players. Come on, DiMaggio and Williams. And he names the greatest players of all time, by the way. 150 games, 150-year-old sport, and he literally names like three, four. But he's right. He was right in that. Do they feel like Hall of Fame players? The answer is I don't know. So there's your answer. The answer is no. Hall of Very Good. Okay, fair game. And I thought I'm not going to fight the good fight with this one because he's a legend in the broadcasting
Mhm.
business. My goodness, I didn't even realize until I started doing some research on him that I was like, whoa, Hall of Fame broadcast radio guy, big voice.
Hall of
And
Very Good, maybe.
no, actual Hall of Fame. And I thought, well, he's such a playful personality and he's used to being combative.
Yeah.
So I figure I give him something that he could react to in a I get it sort of way because he plays the wink wink game also.
Yeah.
I'm breaking down the fourth wall right now. Sorry, pulling back the curtain sort of thing. But he's playing a character in a way. And I thought, yeah, fair game, I'm going to play a character too.
Mhm.
And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't taking shots at him because I like him and I
Yeah.
respect him. And I also didn't want to deal with some sort of like media storm where I'm calling out one of their members because
Yeah.
I don't feel that way about anybody in the media. I feel like we're all part of the same effort to push this game forward. It's a
Mhm.
business. And so I wanted to make sure I picked out something that was so ridiculous and so silly. And I thought, he lives and works in New York. He's always dressed up. He's got beautiful hair. I'm bald. I'm in the Midwest playing for the smallest market in the sport. And Zach plays in Kansas City, which is probably the second or third smallest market in the sport. There's something there. And so I basically wrote a little script. And for the next week, 10 days, 2 weeks, and I was playing great too, by the way. Next week, 10 days, I just memorized it. And I ended up timing it right in that Alana was on the show, and I tried to be kind to her and kind of gruff to him. And then we had our private moment together, and it went off well. I was shocked when I got done with it. I was like, yes, that's exactly what I was going. So
That was awesome. That was a lot of fun to watch for sure.
I
So
had fun doing it. I had fun doing it. It was a good sport.
it was also funny hearing India talk about it because he was like, nobody knew like what he didn't tell a soul like what he was practicing for. We just heard him. And then I think they were like, I think they saw it happening. We're like, oh my God, this is insane.
Yeah, he's funny in that like I had like maybe like a 900 or something like an 850 or 950 OPS at the time, but I was hitting like 220.
Mhm.
And he was like, "You got some homers there." So he was kind of pissing me off a little bit. He was like, "You hit a couple homers recently. You're okay," because he hates low batting average. He hates low batting average. So I was like, "I'm doing okay. I'm not like doing terrible." So I was like, I'm ready to give it to you, sort of thing, because he's criticizing me doing my job. So it was fun. I had a great time. He's a great sport. I'm gonna work with him again in the future.
Awesome. Joey, I really appreciate you coming on, man. And I'm really excited to watch you play baseball this year, but just know it's the second highest reason is that I really like you and I really like watching you play baseball. The first is that I'm tired of those damn shopping carts in the parking lots. All right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, watch out. Watch out.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course, my pleasure. Good to see you again. Take care.
You as well, man. See ya. Well, that was awesome, and wanted to thank again Joey Votto for coming on. What a legend! I just love talking to him about baseball, about the inner workings of baseball, and just having his personality come through on what he does. He's so passionate about this game, so passionate about the growth of the game, and that's kind of the whole point of this show as well. So that was awesome, and I really hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you all for listening. By the way, I know I mentioned that Jonathan India was supposed to be coming on, and he was going to be this episode, but he will be coming out on Monday. So Jonathan India's episode will be coming out on Monday of next week. But thanks to Joey Votto for coming on. Make sure you guys are subscribed wherever you listen to your podcast, or make sure you follow or subscribe. It really helps. And you can watch every episode as well on YouTube, on Spotify, and follow along on all social media at Flippin Bats Pod for all of them. But thanks again to Joey Votto, and thank you all for listening. Until next time, my friends, remember, find your bat and flip it.